Okay, welcome back. We are in lecture 14 and we are starting now the space geometry concept. So far what we have done, we discussed the orthographic projection in first angle, in the third angle. We discussed another kind of projection because in the case of the orthographic projection, all the projectors are parallel. The other kind of the projection where the projectors are not parallel, rather they converge at a point. Like taking a camera image. So all the rays from the object space, they converge at the lens center. And that is how we make the image. We have seen this. So that is called the perspective projection. We also saw, like the perspective is a pictorial presentation. You see a picture of the object. Similarly, by keeping the projectors parallel, we can create some more pictorial presentations, like in the case of the isometric projection or the oblique projection. The purpose of the pictorial presentation over the orthographic projection, which was on the principal planes. In the case of the orthographic projection, what we were doing, we are projecting either on the frontal plane or on the horizontal plane, which is the top view, or on the profile, the side view. So in the case of the pictorial presentations, which are the isometric or oblique, our projectors are parallel, but more than one principal view of the object is appearing on the projection plane. So what it is like, we see kind of three-dimensional image or a 3D picture of the object. It's not actually 3D, it is a 2.5D representation because that 3D object we are representing onto a 2D plane. But the view is more comprehensive and more understandable. Whenever you discuss with a layman who does not understand the orthographic projection, I would like to show him the pictorial presentation. And we have discussed that earlier, the pictorial presentation, we make use of them for marketing purpose, for advertisement, and so on. So this is the course, what we have done so far. Now, in the case of the space geometry, the issue that we are going to discuss are very different. It is also about the projection, but the visualization of the object, projecting the object, is not always about the principal planes or on the principal views. Let us see it. And to see this, let's start with an example. So what I will do, I will give you a problem and you will be solving this problem. What the problem is, let there is a cylinder A, there is another cylinder B, and there is one more C. Now what these objects are? Cylinder A and cylinder B are meeting like this, while the cylinder C is piercing cylinder B. So the cylinder C is inserted into cylinder B and is coming out of it. Okay, it's passing through it. The problem that I want you to solve is, these are the dimensions, and of course in this case there is no scale. The dimensions which I am giving are rough dimensions. Okay, and take note of this. Now the problem that you have to solve. The problem is, I'm giving you a sheet, okay, a certain size. The sheet is a rectangular sheet. What you have to do, you have to cut this sheet in 3 parts, so that, for example, I will give you one example. If you want to make a cylinder, say the cylinder C. If I want to make the cylinder C, what I will do, I will cut this sheet in such a way so there is a rectangle and the sides of the rectangle are equal to the height of the cylinder and as well as the 2 pi r, the complete perimeter of the cylinder. So if I cut a piece like this and I fold that rectangle, from that rectangle I can create cylinder C. But in this case the complexity is not a simple cylinder. Rather there are two cylinders A and B which are meeting like this. They are not they are not meeting in this manner. Rather they are meeting in an inclined manner. That's one complexity. The other complexity is cylinder C is passing through cylinder B. So the problem that you have to solve is cut this sheet so that whatever those three pieces you cut out, once we fold them, we are able to generate the object A, object B, and object C, and then we can simply join them in order to create the object as I'm showing you here. So just pause your video, try to solve this problem, and in the next slide I will show you the answer of this. Well, you have some answer with you. Now let us solve it, and you just see whether the answer which you generated is matching with the answer which I have created here. One more thing I would like to remind you, because it's just an schematic diagram. The answers that I'm showing you are again a representation of the actual answer, but not exactly the actual answer, because I have not done it with the corresponding measurements. Later on we'll do it with the measurements also. Now what you notice here, the cylinder A and cylinder B, they're intersecting in such a way, okay? So this is the plane of the intersection. So if I want to cut a piece from that big rectangle so that I fold it and make the cylinder like A, the cylinder is not a perfect cylinder now. Rather, on one side the cylinder edge is slanted, okay? So what it will be like? What will that shape? I need to know that. So what will be the look if I see along that plane where these two cylinders A and B are meeting? They will meet and there will be an isocircle, an ellipse. Similarly, if I unfold this piece A, what it will look like? It will look like this. So the piece here A dash is corresponding to A. The A dash, if you fold, will become a cylinder with one side of it is slanted. Alright, this was simpler. Let us talk about the cylinder B. How about cylinder B? If you talk about cylinder B, it is being cut by cylinder C in two places, here and here. So where the cylinder C is piercing cylinder B, what is the shape there? Can we note that shape? Now can we measure that shape? Can we determine that shape? Alright, if you look at this, what I'm doing, I'm again generating an schematic of that shape, which is also again an ellipse here. So what you notice in this case, this ellipse, in order to generate the ellipse, I need to see perpendicular to the plane where these two cylinders are meeting, isn't it? So we will see the utility of this, why we need to see in this way. We'll see it in a while. So the cylinder B, where cylinder C is inserting, will appear like this. Similarly on the other side also, here. Alright, if we understand this, also now the cylinder B has one more complexity, which is the part here. Okay, it is not a simple cylinder, rather a side of the cylinder is slanted. So what the piece that we cut from that big rectangle will look like, so that after unfolding it I can create a piece like B. So it will appear like this. So you can try it. It may not be, again I'm repeating, it may not be the exact representation, okay, because I'm not doing it with the measurements, but more or less this is correct. Well, if you talk of cylinder C is very simple. It's just a rectangle. The 2 pi r, that's the 2 pi r, where r is the radius of cylinder C and that's the height of cylinder C. So if I fold this rectangle, I will get the cylinder C. Now what we observe in all these things, we are doing a couple of things, and all these things we have to study now. So let us see, what are the methods which we will be utilizing in order to realize this. Because right now I just gave you a problem and you started thinking about it, and I told you also that okay, I'm just showing you the schematic. Once we do this in actual practice, each and every measurement has to be correct. The moment you have the pieces like this, straight away you should be able to fold them, put them together and generate this. So what are the methods that we are going to employ for this? The very first method which we'll discuss is called the auxiliary view. Now we have already seen the orthographic views. Orthographic views along the three principal planes, and these are frontal, horizontal and the side. So this is what we have been doing so far. We are projecting the object on either of these three or all of these three principal planes, and we are generating the orthographic views. However, in this case, one thing that you will notice, if I just look into the cylinder A, just visualize cylinder A, and I can generate the orthographic drawing of the cylinder A. Now using this orthographic drawing of cylinder A, if you visualize that, on the frontal one, I will not be able to determine what the surface here is like, because on the frontal one, it will appear as just a line. If the cylinder A is projected onto the top view, again, the surface of intersection of cylinder A and B, it will again not be clear to us. Why? Because on the top view, once this inclined surface is projected, it will be projected with certain distortion. So the distortion will be in size and distortion will be in shape. So we don't have complete information. Finally, if I project this inclined surface on the side view, on the profile view, again the projection will carry distortion. So on the profile view, we'll have distortion in the size and shape. So if I'm projecting the plane of intersection of these two cylinders, in none of the principal orthographic views, the front, top and the side, I have the correct size and shape. But in order to cut that big sheet on a smaller piece like this A dash, I need to know it. I need to know those exact dimensions. So what we decide here, can there be another view in addition to those three views, or in addition to those principal orthographic views, where the plane of intersection will be projected correctly? Correctly means with the right shape and size. So what you notice, for example, let's say this is the plane of intersection, and we saw on the top view it is not being projected properly, on the front view it is not being projected properly, neither on the side view. So which one is that plane? Where is that plane where this plane of intersection can be projected correctly? So over here, if I have a plane which is parallel to this, I will be able to project the plane of intersection correctly onto this. So once we project on a plane, so here is the plane. So this view we call the auxiliary view. So depending upon the object, what kind of object is, because not always all the planes, lines, surfaces of an object will be parallel to the principal orthographic views. So we can, that's why, generate many auxiliary views where the corresponding part of the object will be projected with true length, size, shape and other thing. We also call it as normal view. So this view we call as auxiliary view. Now this generation of the auxiliary view is covered in space geometry. So space geometry means how that plane which is there, how do I rotate it? What I know its orthographic views. Using the orthographic views, can I really create that auxiliary plane and project is there? So this entire part will be covered in space geometry, a very interesting and conceptual component of the course Engineering Geographics. In addition to this, if you see further, the B and C, again they are intersecting. So C is piercing through B. Again, I would like to know, because what I need to do, I need to create B dash. I need to create a sheet like this. To create this kind of sheet, I need to know these shapes. What are these shapes? To know these shapes, again, I need to project the plane of intersection here on one plane, the plane of intersection here on another plane. Okay, so this is what I need to do. And also the plane of intersection here with A, again I need to know what it will look like. So here in this case, we will be discussing about the intersection of solids. Once there is one solid, there is another solid, and these solids, they intersect. Or for example, if there is a line and there is a plane and the line is intersecting the plane, where is the point of intersection, for example? So those kind of problems will be solving in intersection of surfaces or intersection of solids. And finally, we will also study one more aspect, and that aspect is the problem which I gave you. The problem which I had given you, okay, corresponding to B, give me what the B dash will look like. So utilizing the orthographic drawing of the given object, is it possible for me to cut out the sheet as B dash, so that by folding it I can generate the cylinder over here, the P? Is it possible? Okay, so this entire thing, it will be covered in development of surfaces. So this is all we will be studying now in our rest of the lectures. Okay, once we have understood the basic concept of the auxiliary plane or auxiliary view, intersection of the solids, and development of surfaces, let's go into the details. So to go into the details, I may be doing a bit of repeat of what I have already done, but very quickly I will explain the things so that you have a better understanding of these. Alright, for a given object, there is the frontal plane, and this is the direction of the view, and we know it. So the projection of the object on the frontal plane will appear like this. Then this is the horizontal plane, and if you project the object on the horizontal, it may appear like this. There may be a bit discrepancy in the object and the projections, but don't worry about it. It is more schematic at the moment in order to explain the things. Similarly, this is the profile plane, and the object is projected onto the profile, and that is how the projection appears. Okay, we know it all. So if you go further from here, we have an object, and the same object we are projecting onto the planes. So again, we have the frontal plane, profile plane. So frontal plane, that's the profile plane, and that's the top plane or the horizontal plane. And let's project it. So if I project it, that's the line of sight. So the part is being projected, and it's an orthographic projection. So that is how the projection will appear. Now on the profile plane, again I can project, and that is how the projection will appear. So what you notice over here, the red rectangle will be projected without any distortion, because the red rectangle is parallel to the frontal plane. So there is no distortion. However, the yellow one, which is being projected over here, will have distortion. So from frontal plane, I will not be able to understand the right size and shape of the yellow rectangle or the yellow trapezoid, we can say. Similarly, in the profile plane also, if I do it on the top view or in the horizontal projection, so that is how the projection will be on the horizontal. So what we notice again, as I had done earlier, the yellow part of the object or the yellow trapezoid which you see over here is not being projected with right size and shape in any of the planes. So let us handle it. To handle it, what we need to do, we need to identify a plane which is parallel to the yellow trapezoid, and then we will project the yellow part on that plane. In that case, it will come with the right size and shape, or we can say the normal view. So let's do it. To do that, we will have another line of sight. So what we do, we are seeing the line of sight. So this line of sight, the direction which I am making over here, is in fact perpendicular to the yellow trapezoid, as you understand. Now corresponding to this, I will have one more plane identified. So this is the projection plane now, and this projection plane we call the auxiliary view. Okay, all right, so we have another set of the projection planes, and the yellow one will be projecting onto this. So that is how the yellow one is projected. So here in this case, the yellow projection, because we know it, because my line of sight was perpendicular to the yellow plane, or in other words, my plane of projection, that's the plane of projection, is parallel to the yellow trapezoid. Because of that reason, the yellow project plane or the yellow trapezoid will be projected with right size and shape onto this auxiliary view. Okay, so we understand the concept of the auxiliary view. Now we can have many more such examples. Let's say if there is an object here. So for this object, and now we will understand one more concept in this case. Let's say this is the object. So that's the frontal, and we can have the bottom plane, for the top view, the side one, and the back and the side. So out of these, this is the frontal one, that is the top, or we can say in first angle projection, this is the top view will be generated over here. But let's look into these two, this one and this one. These two planes, I have made them intentionally parallel to the surface here. So this surface is parallel to this plane. And why it has been done? Because if I make this plane like this, perpendicular to the bottom plane, then in that case, this plane will be corresponding to the profile view. And in the profile view, the part that I have colored here will come with the distortion. And this is why a new plane, this plane has been taken. Okay, this plane has been taken, and so this particular plane is an auxiliary view, and I can project now object onto this auxiliary plane, or my auxiliary view will be now the normal view, or will be the correct view. So let's do that. So if you do it, so that is how the projections are. So I'm just making those projections. So this projection is the auxiliary view. Similarly here also, this is an auxiliary view. So both of these, here and here, they are coming as normal view, the view with right shape and size. Okay, now one more thing that we'll do here, that is, let's understand this. In this case, the auxiliary planes, if this is A1 and over here is A2, and that's my frontal plane F. So what do you notice? The F and A1, they are orthogonal. Similarly, F and A2, they are orthogonal. Okay, just keep that in mind. We'll make use of this concept later. So what I will do now, I'll open the A1 about a line which we call the hinge line. Similarly here also I'll have another hinge line. So the A1 will be opened like this and A2 will be opened like this. I open it and open it. Okay, because in the case of the orthographic projections also, you know it, we thought about a box, okay, a cuboid, and then the horizontal one with respect to the frontal, we open it up. The profile one with respect to the frontal, we open it up, and I'm doing it for you. Again, the another profile one with respect to the frontal, we open it up, and that is how all those views which are being projected onto a cuboid surface, we are able to represent them on a 2D sheet. Okay, that's the important thing. So let's do this over here. So if I open it, so that is how the things are being opened. Let me remove this so that you can see it a little better. So if I open it, so that is how the things are opened, and similarly for the other one also. And on the top one also I can open it. So once all these are opened, that means the A1, A2, F and the horizontal one. So that's the horizontal one. We said this one was A1, auxiliary 1, auxiliary 2, and this is F. Now all these are in single plane. Okay. So that is how the representation will be. So what the representation will be like on a single plane, that is how the representation will be. So for this object, or rather the object here, it's frontal, auxiliary 2, auxiliary 1 and the horizontal. So these are the projections. Okay, the same thing with some more. Alright, so we will take one more example, and in this example here is the object, and you'll notice that some of the faces of the object are parallel to the principal planes, while this particular face is not parallel to the principal plane. So in this case we need an auxiliary plane, and here is the auxiliary plane, and this is the projection onto the auxiliary plane, so we call the auxiliary view. Now how we will unfold it? So as we have seen, we have the hinged lines at their respective places, and about these hinged lines we are unfolding these planes. So the auxiliary plane, horizontal plane and the frontal plane, they all come in one plane. Okay, and using this we will be able to create the complete drawing. So this is a 2D drawing where we have horizontal view, the front view and also the auxiliary view. Let us see something about the viewing direction. And we have understood this. So the meaning of the viewing direction is, our viewing direction will be always perpendicular to the surface for which we want to create auxiliary view. Okay, that is the basic. Now some more things over here. We are talking about a line and a term, normal view of a line. What is the meaning of this? Let there is a line, and this line, let us make some assumptions over here. Let us assume that there is a glass box kept over here in front of me. The one face of the glass box is here, and this is the top one, and here is the side one. So for you, this is the frontal plane, this is the horizontal plane, and the one in the side is the profile view, or the right side profile view. Okay, so thinking of this glass box, I keep this pen inside the box. Right now this pen is parallel to the frontal plane, so naturally the projection of the pen or projection of this line on the frontal plane will be the true length. So that's why we call it a normal view of the line. At the same time, the projection of this line on the profile plane will be, as you can see, a point. So that is what we call a point view of a line. In any other case, for example, think of that glass box. Always keep that glass box over here, the frontal plane, horizontal plane, and then the profile plane. In any other direction, I keep this line in this manner. Okay, so it is not parallel to any of the principal planes. If it is not parallel to any of the principal planes, still we would like to determine the true length of the line. So what we'll have to do, we'll have to identify, we'll have to determine a plane which is parallel to this line somewhere here and project it onto that. So this is what we will learn, how to identify this auxiliary plane so that the line can be projected onto this, an auxiliary view, and we know the normal view of the line. Same thing we can do for the edge, or for the plane. If there is a plane, now again think of that box, the glass box that I talked about. Now there is a plane here. Right now the view of this plane is horizontal plane. So the view of this on the frontal plane will be a line. So that is what we call the S view of the plane. At the same time, if you look at the horizontal plane, the view of this plane, because it is parallel to the horizontal plane, the view or the projection of this plane on the horizontal plane will be normal view, or without any distortion in the shape and size. So this is what we call the normal view of the plane. So I will leave you with one problem here, and the problem is how many views we need to describe this object. Observe the object, and the idea is all the parts, all the faces of this object we want to record as normal views. We do not want any foreshortening or distortion. So pause the video, think about it, draw it on a rough sheet, and then see my answer in a while. Okay, so as you observe, in this case there are 6 faces of this object which needs to be represented, and these 6 faces, to represent them, you will notice all these 6, or rather I will say 4 of these are parallel to the principal planes. So those 4 can be represented by orthographic projection on the principal planes. And what are those 4? The frontal view, the profile view on the right, profile view on the side, on the left side, and then the horizontal view. However, still there are 2 more. So this is the answer of the 4 normal views which are on the principal planes. You will notice that still the object is not fully represented, because some parts of the object, for example, let's see, we are using a term here, partial end view or partial profile view. Why are we using this? Because if I take the profile view of the complete object, part of the object will be foreshortened while part of it is coming as the normal view. Because of this reason, I'm showing you only that part which is coming as the normal view. That's why we are calling it a partial profile view. So we need 2 more views, because there are 2 more surfaces which are inclined. So we will be creating the auxiliary views for this, and this is how the auxiliary views will be. So right now in this case, all the views are normal views without any distortion. So in this lecture we learnt about the auxiliary views, and given an object there may be some components of the object, a particular line, a surface, which are not parallel to any of the principal planes. So what will happen if we project those components or parts of the object onto the principal planes? They will come distorted or with foreshortening. So what we need to do in order to represent those as normal views, we need to identify the auxiliary views or auxiliary planes which are parallel to those lines or surfaces, so that those lines or surfaces can be projected onto the auxiliary planes, which we call the auxiliary views. And now the view will be the normal view. We'll be making use of this concept in our forthcoming lectures. Thank you.